The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, MBS, was just at the White House visiting Trump, exchanging favors and flattery. And I have a whole bunch of clips to show you guys because this was just another humiliation of Trump and America. Let's dive in and see what the shenanigans that went down looks like.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a extremely respected man in the Oval Office today, and a friend of mine for a long time, a very good friend of mine. And I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. And he's the Crown Prince, the future king, and I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, the king, who is an amazing man. I met him early.
So right off the bat, it's just lavish praise. Trump loves the fact that he's sitting next to a king because he himself probably wants to be a king. And we're just getting started over here.
Nobody let us do it until you came along, and I let him do it because it was the right thing to do. You can't have a nuclear Iran. And so we put you in a very good position. But I just want to say it's an honor to be your friend, and it's an honor that you're here. And if you'd like to say a few words, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. That will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that, and we
I like
will
that
build
very
on
much.
it.
He works hard.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done.
This is what Trump loves. You give him money, you give him lavish praise, and he likes that. And he'll let you know that he likes that, and he'll give you deals back in return. This is not about morals or ethics or pushing, the right things for countries or economic moves. This is all about lining pockets and dishing out favors.
Just in wrapping up, we'll take a couple of questions, but I want to just tell you what an honor it is to be your friend. And I very much appreciate the investment of now $1 trillion, okay? I'm glad you got that out. I didn't want to be the one to tell them, but that's great news.
We keep increasing, Mr. President.
I know.
Each time the opportunities are just increasing more and more.
Well, the opportunities, right?
Here is Trump taking the first question from a reporter regarding his business dealings in Saudi Arabia. This should be good.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business.
Yes, Donald Trump has nothing to do with the Trump family business. But that's not the last time that he lashes out a reporter. We're just getting started.
He's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's okay, just you ask, Mr. President,
please,
you allow me to answer.
So this is a question regarding Jamal Khashoggi, who was the Saudi Arabian journalist who was assassinated in 2018. Well documented that the Saudi prince was involved in coordinating that assassination, mainly because the journalist was very critical of the prince's regime. And for those not familiar with the story, the journalist was in Turkey, in Istanbul, going to the consulate to get his marriage papers when he was confronted by 15 Saudis, and they assassinated and dismembered him because of his critical coverage of the government. And here is Trump basically whitewashing that, saying that giving cover to MBS and basically stating that he knew nothing about it. It's not his problem. Don't embarrass our guest. Insane stuff.
Syria. And will you visit Damascus?
Are you from Syria?
No, but
Where are you from?
I'm from Palestine.
Oh, we're making a lot of progress, huh? Very good. Well, they like me. The Palestinians like me. The Palestinians are doing very well, actually. I think we're working very closely with a lot of people to make everybody happy, including Israel, the Palestinians, and everybody. It's very interesting.
Trump is impressed that he's actually met someone from Palestine to the point where he says that they're doing very well. After spending billions and billions of dollars covering Israel's military expenses for them to level the place, completely level the place. And here Trump is saying Palestinians are doing very well, actually.
So we just push forward for all the opportunities that we have.
You have to understand, this is really a great ally. Just the fact that they're now doing, I came in here at 6, I did not know that. I was pushing for the 1 trillion, but he didn't tell me that. Now he told me. This is a great ally of ours. You know, when you invest $1 trillion, that's national security for us too, because it creates jobs, it creates a lot of things. And I would say, Scott, right, when you hear one country is putting $1 trillion into the United States, that creates national security.
So Trump mentions here that the $1 trillion investment from Saudi is helping Americans, everyday Americans, by providing them jobs. Well, he doesn't notice how he doesn't go into any details about what jobs are being created by this $1 trillion, what this $1 trillion is going to be spent on, how it's going to help the average American who right now is struggling financially, economically, and the jobs are disappearing off this planet, honestly, but a lot is happening in the U.S. where AI is just decimating all these jobs. And Trump doesn't mention anything about that in his response, of course.
It's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. Remember Biden? He travels for...
What the fuck was that?
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind. It's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the
Why not just
license
do it now?
should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left.
Okay, so here's just Trump continuing to lash out at reporters instead of just simply answering the question, which is what we would expect from a sane president. But he also mentioned, and he's been mentioning this for a while, that he won the election in a landslide. Well, he didn't. He won the election by barely just over 1%. He didn't even get a majority of the vote. And if you don't believe me, you can go look at the numbers. They're publicly available. They're right there on Wikipedia. Go look at the election result, and you will see that this lie that he keeps peddling that he won in a landslide is absolute nonsense.
But you walk into this office, it's the Oval Office, and we've done a lot of good with this office. I've stopped actually 8 wars. I appreciated your question before, but I've actually stopped 8 wars. I have another one to go with Putin. I'm a little surprised at Putin. It's taken longer than I thought, but we stopped India and Pakistan. I could go through the list. You know the list better than I do. I'm very proud. And I stopped one that was almost ready to start again. You know, there was one that was ready to start, and they're doing very well.
Trump likes to mention that he stopped 8 wars, and he brought up India, Pakistan. Well, Modi, the leader of India, actually himself said that Trump had nothing to do with their peace talks. Absolutely nothing to do with them. And he said that he could go through the list. No, he can't. He never does. He never goes through the list because it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And I think when he does attempt to go through the list, he lists the wrong countries, not even the ones he's supposed to. So this whole spiel of he ended 7, 8 wars, 9, like it keeps going up, is total fabrication. The countries that he's claimed, the leaders of those countries don't even admit and give him credit for anything that he supposedly did. So yet another blatant lie from Trump that he's been peddling for months now.
I have a lot of people that are invited tonight or are unable to come because of the size constraint. But you know what we'll do before I leave office? We'll have another dinner because we'll have it ready long before I leave office, and it's going to be beautiful.
Here's Trump talking about the ballroom, finishing construction, and inviting his good friend MBS to come have a nice, lavish, luxurious dinner before his term is over. And I think this is just the perfect summary of this entire meeting that these two leaders had, where it's just coddling each other, throwing favors, throwing nice words, talking about how great each other is. And it's quite despicable that none of this has really anything to do with the current economic situation that's going on, the job situation that's going on, the Epstein files cover-up that's going on. None of this has anything to do with that. It's all just geopolitical flattery and favors and BS. And, Americans deserve better. Americans deserve better.
Yeah, man. I think the thing that immediately comes to mind for me is the scandal that happened during Obama's term when he simply bowed towards I don't remember which Saudi official it was, but I don't know if you remember how they made a big deal about how, Obama's bowing before the Saudis and he's submitting to them and he's working with them and they're evil and, what's going on with Obama? Obama's trying to sell our country out. Meanwhile, you have Trump literally fawning all over this man, gushing and just, can't stop rubbing him and whatever. He's just I wouldn't say obsessed, but he's flattering the hell out of this man. And this man has also, like the reporter mentioned, has been connected to a very brutal and grotesque murder of a Saudi journalist over there. So, yeah, that's what immediately comes to mind for me is just the gross shit. Let me do that again. What was it? Controversy. Hypocrisy. Okay. So that's what it comes to mind for me is pretty much just the gross hypocrisy from the right on this. And granted, I haven't seen any particular reporting on this at the moment, so maybe I'm wrong, but I would bet money that if you watch Fox News, they're not even going to – they're going to say, oh, the president's doing a great job. Look, he's investing $1 trillion, which who knows when we'll see, because that comment right there when it was, we're going to invest – I can't remember how much he actually said in the video, where it was it 500 billion, 600 billion or something? And then he says, it'll grow to $1 trillion within the next year. That comment particularly reminds me of the Zuckerberg moment where when Zuckerberg was asked how much money he's going to bring into, pump into these factories or whatever, he was just like, I don't know, we're going to do 300 billion or something. And then afterwards, he's on a hot mic talking to Trump saying, I wasn't sure what number you wanted to hear. So this feels similar to that. I'm very skeptical of where these numbers are coming from. As you mentioned, with AI kind of phasing jobs out in general, this whole strategy of let's build factories everywhere. I don't see this being good for the economy in the long run. Maybe having the factories here can help and whatnot, but it's going to take decades to get all that stuff online. And meanwhile, during that time, you're going to have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people just out of jobs and fighting for scraps. So, another comment that I thought was interesting was the whole Palestinians are doing very well. As you mentioned, it's now that he's actually come face to face with the Palestinian who happens to be a reporter, maybe it's in his mind that he just thinks oh man, look, they're becoming journalists and they're coming to America. This is look how much they're thriving. I don't know. I hope he's not that delusional, but who could say? But the fact that you literally have people starving to death in Gaza right now, and this like ceasefire is barely holding, and it's even been breached multiple times. And I don't personally think it's going to hold once it hits phase 2. I don't think phase 2 is going to hold water, but to just whitewash everything and just say, wow, look, they're doing so good and people love me over there. It's like, I don't know, man. This whole thing, as you were, sharing it, I was just cringing and face palming for most of it, because it was very painful to watch, especially that one moment where he's just like awkwardly grabbing the hands and talking about like, I don't care where his hands been, I'm gonna touch him. Like, it was just strange, like very, very bizarre behavior. So, especially for a president.